pleased to announce. I want to save your ratings. I'm pleased to announce my intention to, and this is somewhat of a scoop, my intention to run for a fourth term as President of the United States. I will be doing that. I will be having an official, in fact, I think I have, I won 3 times. Now I'm going to do it again. Thank you.
If you're shocked about that, I want you to go back to October 23rd, 2025. And these words came out of Steve Bannon's mouth.
So Trump 28, Trump is going to be president 28, and people just ought to get accommodated with that.
So what about the 22nd Amendment?
There's many different alternatives. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is, but there's a plan.
If you don't know who Steve Bannon is, he was the White House chief strategist for the first 7 months of Donald Trump's first term. This man is deeply intertwined as well with the Epstein files. You can find his name as well as his photo in photos within Jeffrey Epstein's homes. Just everywhere, all over those files. This is what I mean when I talk about people being sort of the wizards behind the curtain, the puppet masters. It's not just the faces that we know publicly and see all the time, like Miller and Hegseth and Vance. It is also people like Steve Bannon, and they have been working on this since probably election night of November 2024. This is something that they have been working on. And God knows who they're talking to. This is why when people call me a fearmonger, either on their own page or in the comments or wherever, I continue. Because I know what the patterns are. I listen, I read, I watch, I take in all of the information needed to put the pattern together, always with the hope that I am wrong. But unfortunately, here we are again.
I want to save your ratings. I'm pleased to.
Well, you heard it. Now, the only way that Trump can actually run a 4th term is there's going to have to be some type of civil war. There's going to have to be a situation that requires Trump to implement the Insurrection Act. That will be the only way possible he can remain president. And it looked like that's what's going to happen, honestly. When you look at all the racial divide and tension that's building up in America, you can see that something is going to pop off in the next couple of years. And whatever it is forging 2030, Agenda 2030, to be implemented in society. You can see it clear as day. I mean, we're going to evaluate some of these stories that's going on right now, current events, and we're going to break down Agenda 2030. I see you brothers and sisters rolling in. It's good to have y'all. You know we're going to really have a strong build. You know how we do. So it looks like Trump wants to be a dictator. It looks like we are tiptoeing on tyranny in America. And we got to talk about this, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all know how we do. We give up nothing but the truth. Hold on, y'all. I got to figure out what's going on with my media. I don't know what happened here, but let's check this out real quick. I don't know what's going on with this thing. All right, let me see. Let's try that. All right. Here we go.
They working against us. They hate our souls. They hate us. They hate our righteous indignation. They hate the exhortation that dwells in us. They hate our love for the They hate our conviction. They hate the fact that we repentant. They hate the fact that we're truthful, honest, and bold. They hate our courage. Them devils hate us. We're not finna line ourselves up with these weirdos and freaks. With these weirdos and freaks. They working against us. They hate our souls. Weirdos and freaks. But these weirdos and freaks, they working against us. They hate our souls. Nubreed.
Ephesians 6:10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord, and in the power of his might put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints.
Welcome back. I see you brothers and sisters rolling in. Still the one is in the building. Calisthenics, Mellow, Golden Seed, Lion Within You, Universal Love 777. Yes, Wanda Austin's in the building. Yes, I see y'all. Peace and blessing. Sean Hazel's in the house. Hey. When you hear that sound right there, that means somebody is showing support, and you know they hate when y'all show support for the truth. We are the home of Truth Maxing over here. So make them mad. Look, ladies and gentlemen, Agenda 2030 is in full swing. I don't see that train going off the rails, honestly. And I'm not really here to make predictions, because we don't know if Trump is going to be elected for a fourth term or not. However, I do have my theories, and I do want to place some hypothetical scenarios in y'all's mind so we can see which way this could actually go. I see people showing up already, showing support. East Coast Kev, what's up, East Coast Kev? East Coast Kev says leaving America might not be a bad idea when you see YTE people leaving. You know it's bad. Ivanka Trump built a $200 million bunker near Albania. What does she know that we don't? Ooh, right? And it's not just her. The whole Epstein class, the whole cabal, all of the mega rich got underground bunkers, and they got caves that they got. Yep. I'm talking about fully loaded bunkers to stay in there for years. So they know judgment is pending. and they're petrified, but they can't escape what's coming. No, they can't escape what's coming. Listen, all I can say is this, ladies and gentlemen, the way things look right now, when you look at the political division that we got in this country, when you look at the social tension, the public debates that we see, we got to ask ourselves, where will America be in the next 5 years if it keeps pushing in the same exact direction that it's going right now? Imagine waking up to a headline that Donald Trump will remain beyond a second or third term. Just imagine how that would affect people. Imagine how that would affect people, y'all, with all that's going on. People are going to lose their minds. And especially if it's through some unprecedented constitutional crisis where emergency powers, start changing rules and the nation immediately fractures. I mean, we'll be living in a whole different reality. We'll be in a whole, the way this is looking, this could really happen. And I want to share with you all some things. I got some sources, of course. Y'all know how we do. We come with some grade A, top-notch sources, because everything I'm saying, I like to validate it with real news, facts, and things that's going on in the country so we can use our minds and prepare, because the Bible says a prudent man foreseeth the danger and hideth himself. So, we're gonna take a gander at what's going on in the country.
Breaking news, the U.S. and Israeli militaries are going to merge in 5 months because the House of Representatives has just passed the bill. H.R. 8800, the bill that will integrate the IDF and the American military, has just passed by a vote of 219 to 206. And this bill will now move to be voted on in the American Senate, which is extraordinarily more pro-Israel. It's almost guaranteed to pass. I mean, just look at the offices of the senators. These congressmen are going to vote on a bill that will merge the IDF, the American military, merge intelligence, meaning the Mossad is going to get everything on us. And it also allows Israel to conduct cyber warfare against me and you and Americans. And after the Senate passes it, it's going to be up to one man to sign the bill into law. That is Donald Trump, who has already stated that he's going to be signing this bill, which is endorsed by Netanyahu. Shocking. Last week, the Congress tried to pull Israel out of the bill, and that was blocked, and now they just passed it to make it law. Breaking news, the U.S. and Israeli militaries are going to...
Now, it is clear at this point that America is going to do Israel's bidding, but also this points to something else. This also points to the fact that Israel would stand more to gain keeping Trump in office. Because let's not act like America's being ran by Israel. Let's act like it's not being ran by Israel. We know it is, right? We know that when they want to go to war with somebody, we got to go to war with them, regardless of what the country thinks. That's just a fact. So the way Trump has been, I mean, he's pretty much been a sock puppet. He's been doing whatever it is they tell him to do. So I wouldn't doubt that some rules get flipped and some things change. Honestly, And this is getting to the point where we're going to see Americans lose all their freedoms and their civil liberties. And we're going to talk a little bit about that too, because this is real.
Well, I hate that I was right about this, but it's officially fucking over. Just a few hours ago, the United States House of Representatives voted to pass the 2027 National Defense Authorization Act, including Section 219, which was the whole part that said the United States and the Israeli militaries will merge. It's done. The only thing left now is it has to go to the Senate. I would be extremely shocked if it did not pass the Senate. It will likely pass there, which means it's official. The total vote count was 219 to 206. Only one Republican voted against it, to nobody's surprise. That's Thomas Massie. We talked about his tweets yesterday. 5 Democrats voted in favor of it. I will give some credit to Democrats here. I thought that number was going to be a lot higher. Now, don't get it twisted. Everyone who voted in favor for this has literally just committed treason, and I'm not exaggerating. So these 5 Democrats and all the other Republicans that voted to approve this are all domestic terrorists and should be tried for treason. Listed above my head here are the 5 Democrats who voted in favor for it. We got Don Davis out of North Carolina, Jared Golden out of Maine, Adam Gray out of California, Vicente Gonzalez out of Texas, and Marie Gluesenkamp Perez out of Washington. Utterly despicable.
Wow.
Last thing I want to touch on here is how fucking suppressed this whole thing is online right now. Because again, the fascist oligarchs control everything. If you Google this right now, which I just did 5 minutes ago, there is one article that comes up today under the news tab, and it's from something called Legis One. I have no disrespect to them, but I've never heard of that in my fucking life. Everything else is at least a day old. They are actively not updating the news. They are suppressing it. If you go to Google News right now, you will not find shit about this. It is fucking insane, dude. I will continue to be a hopeful person. I will not give in to nihilism. But holy fuck, today's a tough day, bro. I mean, genuinely, it's a tough day if you're a sentient human being.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen in the next couple of years if things keep going in this direction, where they could just bend and manipulate the rules and actually keep Trump in office, as well as keep carrying out the bidding of Israel. It's pretty simple, right? One side of the country, they're going to believe that it's the restoration of America and that Trump is some Christ-like figure who is going to bring order and justice back to the land. And then you're going to have others that going to believe that democracy itself has collapsed, which that would be more close to the truth. But democracy never really existed. It was a front. But the thing is, this stuff is going to happen within hours. Within hours, if they go ahead and keep Trump in office for another term. You know, major cities are going to fill up with demonstrations. You're going to see the streets packed. It's going to be counter protests. Those are going to emerge, and they're going to come out with the 9mm, the shotguns, they coming out with the pepper spray. They coming out with everything. Then governors are going to openly challenge federal authorities like they did months ago when Trump started doing that immigration, sending ICE to the streets. Governors are going to come speak out. Social media going to be damn near impossible to distinguish what's real news and what's psychological warfare. So nobody's going to know what real information is. And so then you're going to have panic. Man, I'm telling you, bro, people, these next 5 years in America, Babylon is cooked. I don't even think people understand how bad this is cooked. East Coast Kid, thank you for the support. I appreciate it. Galatians 6:7, be not deceived. God is not to be mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall a man reap. 100. And the Babylonians, these Europeans, they about to reap what they sow. Well, we're going to talk about some of the things going on in the country. And what they're doing essentially is they're riling up the insurrection spirit in God's chosen people. And it's not going to come in the form they think it is. It's going to come in the form of divine intervention, but also a state of awareness where we're going to be willing to protect ourselves. So they're not really ready for that. They're not really ready for us to be on the same page with our Creator. But thank you for the support. Thank you for the support. But this thing is going off the rails, man. It really is. It's getting crazy out there. Hold on one moment. I want to show y'all something.
They have these 15-minute cities popping up. There was one massive one in Austin called the Domain. And the fact that nobody's realizing it, how we're getting assimilated into 15-minute cities, AI.
15-minute cities.
And what's happening is these mega corporations, these billionaires, they want everybody to be in these highly condensed populated areas to be tracked, to be assimilated into AI.
And you can also shut them down at any time. If you think about it, it's so condensed, you can block people in there easily.
Why did they pass a federal law to where all the new cars by 2027 has an AI system to shut down your entire car if you're inebriated or if you feel like you're too tired? They have the judgment call.
Interesting, because when I was in Dallas, there's a new rideshare company called Alto. And when you book Alto, it looks like an electric car, but it has a driver though. And they said, we want to bring back human-to-human interaction. And they make it a point to drive past the Tesla graveyard. That's right down in downtown Texas. And people are just turning in their Teslas, getting out of it because battery goes out, 20 grand to fix it, and there's no warranty for the battery. And then the cameras are rolling non-stop in those Teslas, and you don't own the footage.
Really? Damn.
Do you know what movie is based on an all-in-one dystopian city, the Lorax?
I haven't seen that.
Shit.
What was in the Lorax? What was going on?
So basically, it was about a dystopian future, and they had bottled air that the mayor was selling to all the people, and it was a 15-minute city.
So
everything, all amenities, shopping, entertainment.
The walled city of Thieville, where everything is artificial and even the air is a commodity. Damn.
There you go.
Yo.
So, get
He's a
this. So that
store.
15-minute city that we went to in Austin, it was owned by none other than BlackRock and Vanguard. So they owned that. There's a patent on smart dust nanotechnology that was filed in 2022. Guess who owns it? Wells Fargo. Why do they own it? They're using this nanotechnology, and basically this smart dust, the public can inhale it, and it tracks your biometric data, and it can be used to purchase things or track your purchase
so
history.
this will be in like the bank lobby.
Bank lobby or even ATMs. So you breathe in the smart dust as soon as you pull up, and then it has the tech
And
in your body.
what do you think that smart dust is working with?
Oh, 5G.
Not only 5G, but the shot.
Well, yeah, it's all tied.
Yeah,
You
it's
know
all
the-
tied together.
The jab was tied to 5G,
Right.
because that's why people were getting sick, allegedly.
I was watching something that talked about every pandemic that's ever really been, literally from like the 1920s, the 1930s. 1G eventually came out. Then the next, step up.
Yeah, 2,
then
3,
2G,
4.
3, 4, 5. Like they all had pandemics.
Right.
All of them. Every single one.
Now, this is not far-fetched at all, ladies and gentlemen. Now, for you all who can see out there, and I mean you all who put on your they live glasses and you got your spiritual eyesight on, y'all know that smart dust is out there. Y'all know that certain people change after that shot. You know that them implementing that 6G is going to have a major impact. You know these things subconsciously, even if it's not something you dwell upon every day, you know that they're setting this grid up. But the question is, right? How would they go about it? How would they do it? It's going to have to take order out of chaos. I'm telling you right now, all the stories that we see in the media right now, it is designed to form tension, although it's real. Now, what do I mean by that? Yes, America is a satanic racist country, but they've been hiding the news for a long time. There's a lot of times where we don't get the coverage that our people have been killed unjustly. Now the information is out. The cat is out the bag. Why? For a few reasons. It's designed to cause divide, but also the Most High is working on our behalf to bring what's in the dark to the light, so we can develop the insurrection spirit once again, so we can have that revolutionary heart once again. And it's crazy because a lot of our people are starting to come together through tragedy, through these wrongful deaths. So the Most High tells us in the scriptures, everything that happens on the face of this earth is for those who love him. It's for the greater good of those who love him. So he's also positioning us to understand that we're in a war and to move accordingly. But I'm going to tell you, in order for Trump to stay in office for another term, it's got to be a race war. It's got to be martial law. It has to be an insurrection act. They already scripted. What is his name? David Bannock? This dude, you know how powerful David Bannock is? The guy that's saying that they're going to script it out, it is what it is. Trump going to be the president. This dude is powerful. They took him off of Trump's campaign because on the low, they just wanted him to rule from the shadows. So you got to understand that everything is already scripted. Everything is already planned. And then they tell the people, they tell us out loud. But the question is, are we listening to what they're saying? Because they'll tell us what they're going to do. And when you go into what Agenda 2030 is really about, it's about you owning nothing. That's what it's about. You owning absolutely nothing and them controlling everything. But they have to break society down to get us to that point. And they don't have much breaking down to do. East Coast Kev came through again with the support. I appreciate you, my brother. Revelations 18:4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, lest ye receive in her plagues. That's right. We got to start to unplug mentally, spiritually, eventually physically. We got to start detaching from this Babylonian culture. I'm telling you. And it starts with just being set apart. Because it's going to get real. It's going to get real.
5 years ago, the WEF told us that by 2030, we would own nothing. That is all tied into the UN Agenda 2030, which digital ID is one of those things that is tied into that agenda. But in 5 years, how have we gone from ownership of things to steadily moving towards non-ownership? Well, the first thing we can see here is in homes. Home ownership, a lot of people have been priced out. Ownership in general of homes has remained flat over the last 5 years. Meanwhile, rent has skyrocketed and it has gone up by 5.6 million over the last 5 years. So rent is increasing, home ownership staying flat, and will eventually start to decline. They'll price people out. Right now, the younger generation that should be owning homes, Gen Z, has been priced out, and they are the largest generation ever to be renting. That's your big ticket item. Everything else has started moving to a subscription-based model, if you've noticed. In the past, we used to own certain things. We used to just buy them at the store and have the actual media in hand, but now it's all subscription. Cars are starting to do this. Toyota, Mercedes, BMW, they're starting to create subscription services for features in their cars. Farming equipment, John Deere, they will shut down the software in a John Deere tractor if you don't have the subscription service to have their men, their mechanics, fix it when it breaks down. Printers, HP has an ink subscription program. If you got that ink and it's in the printer and you canceled your subscription, your printer will stop working. The other things that we have, movies and music, that is all moved to streaming services. They can remove things that you purchased because it's all held in their cloud, not in your own hands. We no longer have CDs, DVDs, it's all digital based. Gaming systems, the new Switch 2, they can shut you down if they don't like what you're doing. So you won't have access to your games if they don't like what you're doing. Software, you used to be able to own software like your Adobe Creative Suite, Quicken, Microsoft Office. All of that, again, is moved to subscription. You don't own the software anymore, but you pay to use it regularly. Ebooks, all on Kindle. In 2009, Amazon took off George Orwell's books, and so if you had even purchased the digital version, it was just gone from your library. These kind of things is what Agenda 2030 is all about. And with the digital ID, they can shut you down. They can shut you out of any of this kind of access. So there it is, incremental steps to owning nothing and making you a regular slave, paying regularly in order to use these services that we used to just buy once and have in hand. Combine that with digital ID. You step on a line of social media, you do something that they don't like, they can shut you down now on any of these services as well. This is the agenda. This is where they're going. This is how we will own nothing. 5 years.
And he's 100% right, y'all. I mean, they've already started. And they're saying that the new GTA that's about to drop, they're saying that you won't even be able to own the disc. So even with your video games, you won't own those. And it really reminds me of the movie called Fahrenheit 451, where you couldn't own anything, not even digital assets, you know? And they do that because they want you to be a slave, you know? Meanwhile, the mega rich, the so-called elite, will be hoarding all the resources. That's how they're operating. And we can see this clear as day. And I'm going to tell you, with this AI, another thing they're going to have to do within like the next couple years, they're going to have to really blur the lines between truth and reality, like to the point where you don't know. They're going to be using AI so much, you're not going to be able to tell what's propaganda, what's manipulation. You know, truth is just going to be disappeared. Like the scriptures say, there'll be a famine of the word, which is going to cause more confusion. And then you're going to have more controversial racial incidences just coming like clockwork. They're already happening. That's what's going to really rile up the people, because they're going to need us fighting. They're going to need a race war. They're going to need that. So that's part of the plan. That's part of the agenda. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to do me a solid and get the likes up. I see that they're trying to bump people out. So make sure you get the likes up so people can get the notification. I appreciate it.
Listen to the elites tell us how the future is going to be with their Agenda 2030. Listen to this craziness.
In the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations.
You do not even have to have elections anymore, because you can already predict, and afterwards you can say, why do we need elections? Because we know what the result will be.
Our primary mission is, in fact, to set a global standard for the world for behavior.
What we are very proud of now, the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets.
You want the function, you want the service, right? Why do you want to own a cell phone if you can just lease it? And if you lease, why shouldn't you lease your refrigerator or your washing machine or your dishwasher, or why do you want to own it?
I propose putting an end to anonymity on social media.
If 1 billion people stop eating meat, I tell you it has a big impact.
Can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains? And we measure your brain waves.
There's some really interesting research that we can plant false memories in the brain. People believing that they've been at Disney World with characters who are not Disney characters, taking photographs with those characters.
And substituting humans for machines is going to be far easier in those countries that have declining populations. I could argue.
I mean, listen, the Bible tells you, and Matthew 24:4 says, take heed that no man deceive you. See, you're already in the age of AI, algorithms, propaganda, informational warfare. You already warned to not be deceived. So it's going to be a lot of deception. And we're really already at a point where we own nothing when you really think about it. Most people, we're renting everything. And it could be a benefit. It could be a benefit if you don't plan on staying somewhere too long. If you plan on living like a pilgrim. See, even that can work out in our favor. See, the Most High got us covered. Even that works out in our favor. See, they think they're doing something, but they don't even understand that our people always been ready to pack up and leave if need be. Our people always been ready to travel abroad if we need to. Matter of fact, if it wasn't for us escaping our Assyrian captivity, Persian, Roman Empire, Egypt, we wouldn't be here. So we be on the move. Yeah, thank you for the support. I appreciate it. East Coast Kev shares 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary is a roaring lion seeking who he may devour. Yep, that's why you got to be on point. And when it's saying sober, it means sober-minded, awake, aware, conscious to what's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, when you walk around your streets today and you got those they live glasses on, everybody sleep. How many of y'all can see it that the mass majority not thinking the way we're thinking? The mass majority are not talking the way we're talking. It's like they're docile. NPCs everywhere. Everybody seems to be fragmented. Everybody seems to be practicing escapism. Everybody caught up in consuming, being entertained. I mean, think about this. Just last week, there was an unknown smoke. They said it was Canadian wildfires across the whole East Coast. And everybody was just carrying on like life was normal. It's something going wrong, man. And I believe it was the shot. I don't know. People can say what they want. I believe it was the shot. And it changed people. And I was saying it before the shots came. I said, if they give out a shot, some people just never going to be the same again. And it hasn't been the same since 2020. It haven't been the same, y'all. If you can relate, talk to me in the chat. I know I ain't the only one that sees this.
There's a reason we connect with movies like Hunger Games and Divergent, because our souls on a subconscious level are trying to prepare us. These data centers very well may be supplying these piece of garbage, mother effers, bunkers with energy. And when they shut those doors...
I can't play this song because she's playing the Hunger Games song. I just heard it. We're not trying to get hit with copyright, but what she's about to say is real. It's really turning into District 12 Hunger Games out here. And I'm going to tell you what the battery is that they putting in people's back. And it's really the race war. And let me say this. Of course, the racism is real. And we got to point out these atrocities. That, in fact, there's another story that someone sent me, and it's regarding another young man who seemed to have been taken out similarly as Nolan Wells. So we're seeing a pattern here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if y'all caught wind of this story. A young man, 13-year-old man by the name of Daryl Lowry it looks like he was stabbed by a 17-year-old and drowned. And I think this happened a couple days ago.
Another heartbreaking case, this time out of South Carolina, and honestly, I am thoroughly disgusted. Authorities are saying 17-year-old Landon Austin Moore is now being charged with murder after a 13-year-old foster child was found dead in a South Carolina lake. Landon Austin Moore has been charged with murder in the death of 13-year-old Daryl Martinez Lowry. Another black boy dies at the hands of white boys. The incident happened on July 20th at a boat dock on Clarks Hill Lake in Modoc, South Carolina. Police say that Daryl got into a physical altercation with Moore and another 16-year-old. Investigators allege that Daryl was cut with a knife before the two older teens held his head underwater until he drowned. His body was later recovered in that lake. While Moore has been arrested and charged with murder, the 16-year-old has been taken into the South Carolina Department of Juvenile Justice, but officials have not publicly announced that teen's charges. One thing to note is that all three boys were living in the same foster home, and that foster home was operated by McCormick County Council Chairman Bernie Hamby. And reports say that Daryl had only been recently placed there while waiting for another foster placement. This investigation is still ongoing, but with all that has been happening, with all that we have been seeing with Nolan Wells and all the many other cases of black kids dying in the hands of white kids, this is just so heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking to read, hear, think about. It makes me want to fight. I know that's not the best option. I don't know what we have to do for this to stop. It's ridiculous. Rest in peace, Daryl. You did not deserve to lose your life that young. Another heartbreak.
Okay, so yeah, there's a couple things. I'm wondering why there was only one arrest made, because it sounded like, according to her coverage, she said that 2 young men held this young man underwater. So I'm not sure why it was one arrest made. However, you know, this right here, this is beginning to show a pattern. And it's because you don't see these young YT men or teenagers, you don't see them being held accountable for other, for other cases. So they have a battery in their back. It's like a dog whistle has been blown ever since July 4th. See, even when we think about the Nolan Wells case, on July 4th, there was a lot of unsolved murders against young black men. There was a lot of missing black men. There was a lot of lynchings. In 2026, there were lynchings going on this year on the 4th of July. And see, that's why I'm saying that there's a certain spirit that's rising up in our people. Like, I don't know if y'all seen the movie A Spoonful of Chocolate, but if you haven't seen it, you got to see it. You got to see it. Because one thing about it, it would not be the first time a Nat Turner type of situation takes off. I mean, you know, our people are known for pushing back at some point. You know, the Baptist Wars. I'm talking about Toussaint Louverture and the Haitian Revolution. The Seminole Indians pushing back. Listen, there's been a lot of insurrections down south where our people was like, you know what? And I'm not saying I want that to happen. I'm saying that for some, it is riling them up. It's riling people up. And I mean, that is natural. If any other community was going through what we going through, I don't think they would put up with, I don't think they would have the long suffering that we have. If any other community would be dealing with this, no justice, our children just missing, or they end up mysteriously dead and we get no answers. No other community would do that. But we are such graceful people. We're graceful people. We're patient. We're forgiving. We're all these things. But, oh my, here comes Judah. Because being docile in the future ain't gonna work when this thing turn into Hunger Games. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, because it's getting raw out here. It's getting real. You know, this is going to become part of our everyday lives. Man, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Because this is not going to be some conventional war. This is a nation consuming itself from the inside out. Because a war is coming. I want to talk about the war that's coming. Because what I'm seeing is something going on.
Another black boy is dead. 13-year-old Daryl Lowry was found underneath the dock at Storm Thurmond Lake in South Carolina. And while some people may think this is just another accidental drowning or whatever they're calling it these days, investigators this time they don't believe that. It's something else. According to South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, 17-year-old Landon Austin Moore has been charged with murder. Authorities allege that during a physical altercation at the dock, Daryl suffered knife lacerations before he was intentionally held underwater until he died. A 16-year-old who has not been identified was also taken into custody and transported to South Carolina Department of Juvenile Justice as the investigation continues. Daryl was just 13 years old and someone who is raising a black son in the United States. Stories like this terrify me. I'm afraid. I genuinely am. I'm afraid of what friends he might make along the way, what people he might trust along the way, and if something like this could potentially happen to him in the future. It is important to teach your kids to be cautious. Extremely cautious, especially during these times, because there are so many accidental drownings, and just drownings in general, of black men and young boys. And we're noticing.
Yeah, it's definitely rituals being conducted, without a shot of a doubt. And now we already got all these names that are embedded in the public consciousness, like Nolan Wells, Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin. I mean, the list can go on and on and on. Even George Floyd, you know, you got just so many names. And now you can add another name to the list. Young brother Daryl, 13 years old. And he was placed in a foster home with all of those other folks, and he just didn't belong there. See, these are highly publicized events, and they're always going to be brought back into the spotlight anytime, you know, there's a situation where everything is unresolved. We're not getting the opportunity to heal, you know? It's just one travesty after the next. So every grievance moving forward is just going to be amplified even more. And at the same time, the irony of all of that, every side believes the system failed them. Even the white supremacists believe the system failed them because they don't no longer hold the power they used to hold. So you got two sides angry because everybody broke. They feel like they lose in their country, and we have lost our country because we are the foundation of America. So now it's going to come a time in the next 5 years that activists are going to really call for some nationwide action. And I'm not talking about advocates, people just talking. I'm talking about real live, true blue, or, you know, real men the remnant are going to really call for action at some point. But guess what? There's going to be counter groups to respond to that. And they're going to be white supremacist groups. You know, they're going to be straight up Klansmen, and that's what's going to happen. You know? And guess what the politicians going to do? They're going to seize the moment. The politicians, they're going to capitalize, man. You know, news networks are going to be completely divided with their own narratives like they always do. And then the algorithms is just going to push more outrage, more chaos. And then you're going to have a society that's not just divided by economics no more. You know, because it used to be culture is divided by class. Now you ain't going to have that no more. People going to be divided by ideology. Which is going to make it not only a race war, but it's essentially a religious war. So people are going to be divided on race, loyalty to their political parties. Every interaction is going to feel political in the next 5 years. And actually, when you think about it, it's already there. And I know it can be exhausting for people who don't even get into politics like that. Because you got to walk on eggshells because they found a way to politicize everything. People don't have common sense to say this is right and this is wrong. Young black men being murdered is wrong. Anybody just being murdered and there's no justice is wrong. But guess what? They'll politicize that. The DNC gets involved. Democratic shields get involved. Republican nationalists get involved and they rile up their group when it should be right or wrong, not right or left. Every disagreement is going to feel like an existential threat. Every time you have a disagreement, people are going to be ready to take the next one out. And so, you know what the country going to begin to look like? It ain't going to look pretty. It's not going to be a conventional war, but it's going to be something that's dystopian. It's going to be dystopian, y'all. I'm telling you. And everything is quietly escalating. You can see it. You know, artificial intelligence is expanding. It's into our everyday lives now. You got the digital identification systems coming. That's going to be in our everyday lives now. Cash usage is going to be on a decline. Nobody's going to have dollars in their pockets no more. Facial recognition going to be everywhere in all public spaces. Automation is going to reshape employment altogether. And it's going to be people who see that and they just think, oh, this is just modern. This is just getting with the modern times. No, it's going to be governments and corporations taking over your lives. And they're going to frame it as security and efficiency. They're going to frame it as this is economic stability. No, you're giving me a siphon every month. How's that economic stability? Because we got to get a universal basic income. They want to give us allowances. They want to give people the mark of the beast. And I'm not trying to go too far ahead, man. You can just see all of this stuff. But it's going to start with a war.
Secret Service Sam here with another justice update. Daryl Lowry, a 13-year-old black child, was stabbed and drowned. God, man, this stuff just never ends. And he was a foster child of this guy, Bernie Hamby. He was just placed in his home in Modoc, South Carolina. Bernie Hamby is a city council chairman, and he looks kind of sketchy. Why is he fostering all these kids? He looks like an island boy, if you're catching my drift. This is just disgusting, and we need justice because they're most likely going to try and sweep this under the rug and call it accidental. One of the foster children, Landon, allegedly did this. He's 17, so he's pretty much a man, but we need to bring justice for Daryl. I'm so tired of this, and I know it's never going to end, but until enough of us speak up and get the mainstream media to talk about it, because they're not going to pick up these stories, we have to keep this stuff alive and well, and we need justice for Daryl Lowry.
Now, this is crazy. I didn't know the dude was a congressman. See, that's why I say there'd be rituals going on. Now the plot just thickened. So Daryl Lowry was sent in a foster home with a congressman, and he's just taking in kids, and apparently Daryl's more than likely one of the only melanated children there. This screams ritual. This screams blood sacrifice. And it's not getting that much media coverage. So in order to push the race war, they got to make sacrifices. And it's like they're putting our children on the altar of Moloch. And they're doing it publicly. They're doing this publicly. It's a crying shame. Wow.
I'm still trying to get it together because of Corey Ruiz, and then I'm notified that on Monday, a black child, 13-year-old boy, named Daryl Lowry, was stabbed by two white boys after he arrived at his new foster home. And they stabbed him and then dragged him to a lake to drown him. Held his head under till he died. These motherfuckers want to talk about a crazy man stabbing a white woman on a bus. The one time. They want to talk about that all the fucking time. Every single time we talk about racially motivated murder, that's the one they want to keep bringing up. As if we don't have hundreds, if not thousands, of fucking examples. And of course it was in South Carolina. Of course it was in the South. Even though at this point, it doesn't matter where the fuck you at. If you in the United States, good luck if you're around white people. I watch stories like this pop up all the time since I was like 10 years old. It's just one after another, but they're usually more spread out. You are lying, you are deluded, you are out of your fucking mind if you don't think that all of this has escalated to a point where it's damn near every other fucking day in the last year. And 9 times out of 10, they get away with it, or they get a lesser charge, like Jeffrey Tyler Kinzer getting away with just being charged with aggravated assault. Aggravated assault for shooting up a black family reunion full of women and children, unloading on people, and he's only getting charged with aggravated assault and was released on a $5,000 bond. These kids got arrested. We'll see what actually happens to them. And the only reason they even got arrested is because this is one of them situations that's so goddamn undeniable. Man, they wanted to give George Stinney the chair way back when, early 1900s, when he was accused for doing something he didn't actually fucking do. You want to give somebody the chair? Go ahead, give it them little niggas. I'm sick of this shit. I'm so fucking sick of this shit. It's insane. Let me turn this off before I say some shit I can't take back.
My thing is, I wonder if they're going to give him 40 years like they did Carmelo Anthony. Here it is, Carmelo Anthony defended himself, and we got a situation where these two devils, stabbed up a young man and then drug him to the river to drown him. And only one of them got arrested. What's that about? One got arrested. The other one, what's going on with him? And this is what I'm talking about. And this is the thing that's going to give society its breaking point. This is what's going to cause structural changes in America. This is what's going to put Babylon in a crisis because they're not treating God's people right. Most High not just going to keep sitting back watching this. He's going to push this thing to the next level. It's got to go to the next level. Because these devils not letting up. That's why the country is in the state it's in now.
13-year-old Daryl Lowry should have never been placed with those white folks. This 13-year-old young boy was placed in foster care with a white family who had 2 adolescent teens, 16 and 17. He wasn't even in their custody long before he was stabbed and drowned. We can only release one photo because the other one is underage. This is 17-year-old Landon Austin. He's been charged with the unaliving of 13-year-old Daryl Martinez Lowry. Now, they won't release the name of the 16-year-old boy, but he was taken to South Carolina Juvenile Detention Center. Now, the police are calling this an altercation at a boat dock in South Carolina and not calling it what it was. They murdered that baby, a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old. You think that 13-year-old black boy had a chance? Daryl's family has hired a lawyer. They want to know what qualifications this family had and what.
Now, I'm going to tell you why more than likely they didn't release the name of the second person. More than likely is because this person is tied in with somebody. They don't want to release his name. They want him to do his time in juvie on the low, get out, have the record expunged, and live his life like nothing happened. It's Julia. Julia, thank you for the support. I appreciate you. She says, bless you. Bless you. Thank you for supporting the work. I guarantee that's why they're not releasing the name. He's connected with somebody. Maybe that congressman is protecting him. They don't want the name released. They want him to do his time, go under the radar, grow up and be somebody, be the next congressman. Be the next damn mayor. Boy, still got his whole future ahead of him. That's how they operate in these towns, man. That's how they operate. Yep, that's right. Inspire says 100% correct. Everything's telling me that's why they hiding the name. Because they see how the internet is applying pressure. They see how foundational Black Americans are applying pressure. So they go to running and hiding because they know we gonna cook. They know when we start investigating, it's gonna leave a permanent stain on your future. A permanent stain. You ain't gonna never be able to get back in society and operate after we done cooking, exposing, and doxing. That's why they hiding his name. Yeah. That's how this country does, man. Cover up after cover up. You know? And now this type of stuff is going to be a part of our everyday lives. What do you think this is going to do? You know what history often shows us? When we have to focus on surviving all the time with crisis, that means conflict is the ultimate destination. It is. When anybody who ever been on survival mode knows eventually there's going to be some conflict. This civilization known as America, Babylon, is about to erode. Trust is disappearing. We don't put no faith in these institutions. Nowadays, neighbors are becoming enemies. And, by the time people realize how much has changed, the old world, the old way of thought is already done. It's already gone. Matthew 24:12 says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. See, Christ warned us about lawlessness increasing, people's hearts growing cold. And it's going to happen through politics, racial tension, global agendas. We watching this in real time. And you know what else? Matthew 12:25 says, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Division has always been one of history's greatest weapons. Whether it's racial, political, ideological, a nation that's consumed by internal conflict is vulnerable. I want y'all to look at world news. Look at world news sometimes, ladies and gentlemen. They don't show their civil conflict as much as we do in America. I think it's a reason for that. They don't show now every now and then you'll see in a different country that ethnic purging is going on. You'll see that. And really it'll be framed on the news as exactly what it is, ethnic purging. But here we get all these isolated events that lead up to something bigger. Now we know what the ultimate goal is. This is what the ultimate goal is. The ultimate goal is Agenda 2030. And let me tell you, those 15-minute cities, those smart cities, they've already started in Texas. Peep this.
A trucker somehow stumbled into America's first 15-minute city, and it's being built right now. It's in Frisco, Texas, and people are shocked to learn the details.
This is what I mean, ladies and gentlemen, about a smart city. These apartment complexes will have everything that you need. Grocery store, daycare center, hair salons, you name it, it's gonna be here. Doctors, you name it. So you really have no reason to go anywhere else. And as I said before in other posts, they want you comfortable being uncomfortable. Look at this project. I am actually on site at this facility, this new 15-minute city that they're building. And as I told you guys in the previous post, I own a trucking company, and my purpose of being here is that we deliver the lighting for this place. And this is how I learned that this place actually existed. So these are the lights that I bring here every week, twice a week, for this monstrosity of a complex. So it's just not, I'm getting pictures from somebody else. This is actually a real place that I'm at. This is in Frisco, Texas.
Now, to his credit, he tried to warn people about the dangers of this experimental housing development.
You will own nothing and be happy. The price of homes will be so expensive that you can't afford a home. And this is where you will end up at. A true 15-minute city with thousands of people on top of each other, paying what's equivalent to today's mortgage. Thousands of dollars. Do you want this to be your final happiness? That's great.
In his comments section, there are people defending these 15-minute cities, but you only need to look at other smart city projects to see where this is going.
Imagine you can only travel for 15 minutes, buy 3 items of clothing a year, fly just once every 3 years to Europe, and never eat meat again. That's part of the 15-minute city plan that sounds so great in the glossy brochures. I'm Dr. Rennie. I have 3 driving days a year through traffic filters, plus 25 for the congestion zones. If you go over it, cameras catch you, the DVLA data is harnessed and IDs you, and fines hit your mat.
You thought Flock was bad? How about cameras covering every inch of the city you live in? And how about wearable devices that track your personal carbon footprint in real time?
Their diet, about their physical activity, about the way that they live their lives. We think that wearables are a key to the MAHA agenda, making America healthy again. And we are going to, my vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years.
We're developing, through technology, an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean? That's, where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So, individual carbon footprint tracker. Stay tuned. We don't have it operational yet, but this is something that we're working on.
A trucker somehow stumbled into America's.
So no longer could they call us conspiracy theorists when we talking about smart cities, 15-minute smart cities coming. They're already being built. And it looks like a damn prison. It looks eerie, man. Like they plan on pretty much treating us like cattle. I mean, we got to get out of these highly concentrated areas. I'm telling you. This will happen when you become too reliant on the system. You end up in one of these. I mean, it looked like a damn FEMA camp. And you know what the scriptures say? Revelations 13 and 16. It says, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive a mark. That's Revelations 13 and 16. Wow. You know, many Christians today, especially like the Christian nationalists, they view this digital advancing of technology, they view it as just that we're moving forward. You know, hey, they're not really viewing it as these are centralized systems that are actually fulfilling Revelations 13. Only true believers can piece it together. They don't look at it as that this is the prerequisite for the mark of the beast. And that's why Luke 21:36 says, watch ye therefore and pray always. And it's to the point where, you know, I'm saying a lot of things that are hypothetical to a degree because, and I say that because it's all contingent on whether everything keeps going exactly the same. Going in the same direction it's going. Then this is the only outcome. Babylon gonna be cooked. It's gonna be a damn prison planet. If we keep going down this path here, it's gonna take divine intervention. There ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about that. Let's hear from the good people in Babylon.
Listen, the world is about to see something that it ain't never seen before. The U.S. is in a full-scale war with Iran, with no major ally backing. None of these countries are not coming to the U.S. aid. And the U.S. is going against Iran, China, and Russia. We know they all got a hand in this war. They over there by their motherfucking self, and it's getting worse by the day. Trump flying in bombers. Iran on that bitch saying what they gonna do and who gonna pay, and they hitting all these other countries. And ain't nobody can do a damn thing about it. There's nobody on this planet right now that can step in between these two countries and tell them to both stand down. This shit is up and it's stuck. Listen to what I'm telling you, man.
Mm-hmm.
The only way, I don't even want to think like that. I'm gonna tell you something though. This war is not like any other war that we done been in. The whole world will be having the same problems. Shortage on gas, can't afford to get food, and they might be in the fucking darkness. That's what we done came to right now.
Mm-hmm.
So while you paying attention to all this other shit that's going on in the world, you need to make this a main priority in your life to pay attention to what's going on so you will know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is very serious. Probably serious than anything that you got going on right now. I know a lot of folks saying, hey, midterms. The way this war is getting out of control, you might as well say bye-bye to that shit because both sides gonna get under one umbrella.
Mm.
And they gonna back this fucking war because you know why? They don't have a fucking choice. They don't have a choice. Donald Trump done put it all on the fucking line. And now this shit got to happen. Listen to what I'm telling you, man. So you better stack your shit while it's still somewhat type of low. Because I'm going to tell you something. The price, today's price is not going to be fucking tomorrow's price. You can believe that shit. You better stack up on your water. You better stack up on them canned goods. You better get your ammo up. Because we're about to go through a lot of fucking problems. That's what I'm telling you. Your grandma and your granddad and them can't give you no advice on this type of war. This ain't like the mother two. This motherfucker right here gonna be a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna be a little bit different. This is what I'm telling you. Them boys in a full-scale war right now, boy. Them troops will be on the ground pretty soon. And if this can't happen, then somebody gonna hit a red button.
That war in Iran between America and Iran, America and Iran, it haven't stopped yet. Ladies and gentlemen, it's constantly picking up steam. And you know what else? The gas prices are constantly going up. Grocery prices are constantly going up. Like the brother said, Today's prices ain't yesterday's prices, which is going to cause more internal conflict. Scarcity is an MFer, man. Scarcity, it does something to people. Now, of course, we're not operating in a vein of fear or anything like that, but we're prepared. We're watchful. The Bible tells us to be watchmen. There's certain habits that we got to get a lid on, like our spending habits. It's certain things we got to invest in nowadays. It's certain moves we got to make. It's certain tangibles that we got to get a hold of. We got to learn to be more resourceful. We got to learn how to network with the right people who think the way we think. Because this thing is not, if Babylon was going to be saved, the Most High would have saved it already. This thing is going downhill. And I don't see it getting back up, honestly. I don't see America getting back up. I just don't see it.
What do you think will happen if he uses a nuclear weapon in Iran?
All hell's going to break loose all over. Anybody that has one's going to start shooting them.
I don't know if that's accurate, but certainly if it's done, we will be the biggest evil in the world.
Mm-hmm. I know.
The rest of the world will look to America as the villain.
Right.
And there will be coalitions formed in opposition to us. We will lose probably all of our allies in NATO. If he does that, I think it will be catastrophic for the United States for the next 50 years, probably. The rest of all of our lives, certainly. Do you think, when do you think the war's going to end?
We talked about that. I thought it would be over soon, but now I have no idea.
So do you think it's going to take a new president? A different president?
Not so much. I don't think.
You think Donald Trump is going to pull out at any point? You think that he will?
I said that on the last podcast. I think before he is done with his presidency, I would hope that this war would be over.
What leads you to believe that? Because we've already, it's a ceasefire. No, it's not. Like we're going to stop. No, we're not. Now he's talking about taking out power plants and bridges, talking about literally leveling the whole country. What makes you think that he has any intent to pull out?
There are other countries now that said, go back to the table. We all need to negotiate. Maybe other countries might get involved to persuade.
And you think he gives a shit?
I would hope so.
Listen, I don't think Trump is going to back down for nothing. And his constituents don't want the war to end either. And honestly, we speculating that Trump going to end up staying in office. And, Trump, for those who just joined in, Trump announced that he was going to run 2028. And honestly, the way he getting comfortable in that White House, Trump stayed building something else in that White House. Like he making himself at home. I think Trump want to finish off the rest of his days as president. Like he's over there expanding stuff, building rooms, building buildings around it. And he's coming out his own pockets. Trump is spending his money on building, getting real comfortable in that White House. And if Trump actually does that and they bend the law like that, we are officially under a dictatorship. There's no doubt about that. It'll be official. You wouldn't even be able to argue it.
United States of America will collapse. I believe this because the people in power will not deal with poverty or wealth inequality. So long as we tolerate poverty, our society will get sicker and sicker. We will all slowly become more impoverished, and our sense of humanity will dwindle even further than it already has. The demise of this empire that is America will be the result of us tolerating the misery of others. Misery that could be so easily cured if we just cured poverty. It is not normal to have tent cities in every single major city in America in the greatest country on earth. It isn't normal to have people working full-time jobs just to live in their cars. And those are somehow the lucky ones, because there are homeless people living on the street who have nothing and they work full-time jobs. This is not normal. It is not normal for people to work the entirety of their lives just to lose everything because they had to pay extortion rates on medicine when they got sick. I say it isn't normal, but it actually has become normalized. We've all become numb to these things. We've become numb to driving past the homeless every day. Our society has become numb to seeing abject poverty every single day. This is a sign that our society is sick, and it will only get sicker so long as the people in power continue to allow poverty to exist. Truth is, the people in power have no intention of curing poverty. The only intention they have is to keep power out of the hands of the people and to keep people poor and money going into the hands of corporations and their rich friends. And despite what the media says, curing poverty is not hard. Very easy, in fact, but the government doesn't want you to know that because they want you to believe the lie that there's not enough money. Yet there's always enough money for their wars. There's always enough money for corporate bailouts and for corporate tax cuts. How is it that we never have enough money to take care of the American people, but we have enough money to pay the weapons contractors all the money they need for war? And there just always seems to be another forever war. The cure to crime, poverty, and needless misery is simply taxing the rich and ending the forever war.
That's right. That is right. Listen, let me go ahead and full screen this. Look, let me say this. We're living in a time such as never before. We're on the cusp of a great fallout. And in all sincerity, only the strong will survive. And I don't mean just physically strong. I mean spiritually strong, mentally strong. Those who are not maneuvering in fear, but wisdom. Those who are not pushed to and fro. The people who have the best chance of surviving this are those who are the most informed. And ladies and gentlemen, I believe that this audience right here is one of the most informed, intelligent group of people. There's people over here that are watching right now, a part of this collective of individuals who are going to be leaders in the world to come. And we are truly the remnant. We're the remnant. And there's a reason why we've been educating ourselves. This is a reason why we find nourishment in things that other people find tough to digest. We literally find nourishment in knowing the truth. Where others, they get fearful. You know why they get fearful? Because they're afraid of judgment. They love the way things are here, where they got the liberty to sin willfully. They got the liberty to do what they want. They love Satan's system. So when we speak about the fall of Babylon, when we speak about things changing, for us, it's music to our ears because we've been in this captivity. But for those who are operating in darkness, it gives them anxiety, it makes them fearful, and most of all, it makes them hate the messenger. Ladies and gentlemen, so many of you all have been hated just for trying to wake people up to what's going on. I want y'all to keep in mind that it's their misfortune that they're not taking heed. Only thing you could do is speak the truth and then brush the dust off your shoulders and keep moving. Some of you all are putting yourselves in dangerous situations. I don't think people understand how dangerous America is becoming. Very dangerous. There's so many secret societies and Freemasonic groups that are looking to sacrifice people who are of the light. That's why the Bible says you got to be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. It's dangerous. Legend, thank you for the support. He says, stop being selfish, y'all. This is the truth. Nobody dropping gems like this. Get them likes up and support. We've been through it. Wake up others. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank y'all. And, of course, I'm not on here, begging or any of that. It's just that, this work, when it's supported, it does get more attention because YouTube is getting their cut and they're like, okay, people are actually supporting that work over there, and then they will push it more. Either by liking or sending super chats, it actually helps the content. But we're at a point in time now that it's dangerous in America. I mean, it's dangerous when you got all these secret societies, you got these covens of witches and warlocks. You got people literally targeting God's people. And so you'll be in a situation where you'll be trying to speak the truth to the wrong people, not understanding that everything is politicized. Be careful who y'all talk to. Be careful who y'all give information to. Be careful who you even try to wake up. Sometimes you got to drop breadcrumbs. Some of you all don't even want to share this material to certain individuals, which I understand. But I can tell you this right now. You share this material to anybody, it's going to test that spirit. It's going to test the spirit. Let me tell you something. The truth that we're bringing out is going to shake some things up in people. But it could be dangerous. And I have to warn y'all of this type of stuff. Because most people just want to stick their head in the sand. And anybody disrupting their existence with this truth, hey, they may try to take you out. They trying to eliminate people who speaking that real, man. Lorraine, thank you for the support. Y'all already know we getting support over here, and it is a blessing. Showing some love. A lot of the tethers, raccoons, Sambo super soldiers, white tee supremacists, fake Christians or Christian nationalists, we real Christians over here. We really follow Christ as the scriptures have read. But the fake Christians, they be mad when they see we getting support. That's the thing that pissed them off the most, because we're coming together showing that we're going to support our own interests. Yep. And it is what it is. But I'm going to tell y'all, man, just know that times are changing. Sometimes you got to keep things to yourself. You got to move different nowadays. You just got to move different. Stay off the radar. Let me see. Legend Prodigy, thank you for the support. Legend says, I'm sorry, Breed, if you scared to like and get the message out. Y'all engines are scared. Can't stand people who be scared of helping others. Pisses me off. I mean, hey, it is what it is. I'm just telling people to be safe. But at the same time, no, sharing the word with the right people, you got to know how to move. That's the point. I can't be selfish and say, share this with everybody. Everybody don't deserve this. Some people may see what we talking about and try to put you on a damn list. I'm not that selfish for views that I'm going to sit up here and say, share this with every family member you know. Nah, some of y'all know who the hell not to share this with. Let's keep it a buck. Let's Yo, let's keep it 1,000. Some of y'all know who not to share certain things with because you don't want them knowing what you know. Because their asses can't be trusted. So how many of y'all know people like that? By show of ones, that some people you don't want them to know all the nuggets and truth you know about what's going on in the world. John Lovely, thank you for the support. I appreciate you. Says thank you for bringing out the truth. We the people of the light. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, some people you just don't even want to do that with. It's only a remnant. But for those who got the eyes to see, yeah, drop those nuggets. And you don't even necessarily have to share it. If you learn something, drop them nuggets on certain people. So the blood is not on your hands. Yep. Because remember the scripture says, have I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth? You could definitely become somebody's enemy for speaking that real. But anyway, one love to y'all, man. It's always an honor and a blessing building with y'all, man. You know, I just got off the road from Greensboro, North Carolina. And I had a fantastic time out there. And, you know, it's time to get back to business. Y'all going to be getting my motivational. Y'all going to be getting my motivational uploads back in the swing of things. I tried to stay as active as possible. I still did a stream every day I was out there. However, you know, we got to get back to it. And I just want to thank y'all. I want y'all to support the work at newbreedglobaltruth.com, as well as hebrewcare.com for all your natural goods and essentials. Look, y'all be blessed. Have a beautiful evening. One love to you.